Good Friday morning to you all. We have another Watchmen update with lots of important information and Watchmen reports coming from all over. So orders have been considered now, haven't yet been implemented, for a stop and frisk campaign on the Persian Gulf with Iranian oil tankers and chemical tankers on the high seas, at gunpoint. I'm not sure that this won't lead to escalation, but let's see what happens next. We have the French president threatening nuclear war in Europe. We got the mineral deal back on track, apparently, after the ring has been kissed. We got tariffs seemingly suspended, but your guess is as good as mine right now. Nobody really seems to know what's going on with the tariffs at any given moment. Watchmen reporting that what the Amish have to say about what's going on with the eggs. We got shortages in New England. We got special immunity to prosecution for minorities that starts on April 1st. So if you're a minority and you want special immunity, make sure you wait until April 1st. And a trucker strike that is paralyzing a nation out there. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade. Hopefully you guys are having a good morning. If you have something to share, make sure you use the word update somewhere in your comment. That gets it to the right place. Appreciate you all. Before we go any further, we do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They help people with retirement accounts. If you have a 401k, IRA, or a Canadian retirement account, you can see whether it's eligible to be transferred over into physical metals like gold, silver, or platinum. If you want to find out more, there'll be a link at the end of the video. All right, so most tariffs to Mexico and Canada, not just autos anymore, but most of them have been suspended until April 2nd. So if they're part of the USMCA, I think it is, basically the free trade area of North America, it has been, the tariffs have been postponed, the 25% tariffs. So that's most of the products out there, we're all just trying to track with what's going on hour by hour, blow by blow, but nobody really knows what's going to happen next. And, 15 minutes from now, the White House could be like, hey, we're just implementing 50% tariffs on something now. We're all just trying to keep up, and it's definitely freaking the markets out right now. The markets don't like this uncertainty. All right, speaking of uncertainty, moving over to the Persian Gulf and the Indian Ocean, the Trump administration is considering a plan to stop and inspect Iranian oil tankers. Now, how exactly do you get an Iranian oil tanker to pull over so you can inspect it, send people on board? Are you going to pull up with your warship and start boarding these oil tankers at gunpoint? Because I don't really see any other way of doing it. This is going to get dicey, I think is the word we're looking for. So Middle East may be popping off soon. Israel's chomping at the bit to hit Iran right in the mouth when it comes to the nuclear arms program. Iran already has at least 6 nuclear weapons worth of enriched uranium, which is a problem. Attacking a country is one thing. Attacking a country that has nuclear weapons is a little bit more tricky. All right, Bear Country, the country we're not allowed to talk about, that's sort of in Europe and sort of in Asia. It's kind of in both. Bear Country rejects any discussion of a temporary ceasefire in that country we're not allowed to talk about in Eastern Europe. It's not tied to a permanent... They won't consider a temporary ceasefire unless it's tied directly to a permanent peace plan, which makes sense as they're winning. They don't want a delay so that European countries can rearm that Eastern European country, train more of their soldiers, and a bunch of these European countries who haven't been at war for a very long time want to send their troops into this war, which... okay, that's up to them, I guess. But, they're trying to trigger nuclear war. They're trying to get their troops into fighting. I don't know. Speaking of that Eastern European country, Emperor Z has apologized for his White House stunt, and is apparently being accepted well by the administration in the U.S. And the mineral deal apparently is back on track and is set to be signed. No schedule yet posted for a signing ceremony. There may not be a signing ceremony. They may just sign it and just mail it back and forth. That's what we do, right? When you need to sign something, they just mail you the stuff, and, well, you don't mail it because U.S. Postal Service is not good for that. You want to FedEx it. You want to UPS it. You want to make sure it actually gets there to be signed. So hopefully DHL or FedEx will be able to facilitate this signing so that they don't have to actually meet each other again. French President Macron is planning to extend the French nuclear protection over Europe. Bear country is now considering that a direct threat. Now, I know a bunch of you may be surprised to hear that the French actually have nuclear weapons, but they do. And that's a whole story on how they got them, but another story for another day. The French do have some nuclear weapons. The French have nuclear weapons, and the British have nuclear weapons. They have a few. Basically, they have a couple submarines, and they float around the ocean, and if they ever need to, they can launch their weapons. It does give us a little more protection if we have allies like that, so that, you know, it's not just the United States' nuclear weapons, these other countries. The UK, generally speaking, has decided that they don't want to be part of Europe anymore, at least in the sense of the European Union and all that disaster. But the French are all about it. They're at the center of things. They're right next to Belgium, and Belgium is the center of the world for the European Union. So Macron is talking about extending the nuclear protection. So, like, if anyone attacks this list of countries, we will use nuclear weapons on them. Now, some countries, if they did that with, it would make sense, you know, like Lithuania, European Union countries that are part of NATO. Okay, I can kind of see that. Of course, you run into some problems pretty fast. But anyway, the real question is are they going to try to extend that over that Eastern European country that's already in a conflict? Because then that would mean that they're just going to launch nuclear weapons or something? I don't know. Bear country is not happy about that, by the way. Barry in southern New England. There's beef all around here at the farms, yet there are strict limits on how much you can have. The markets are without affordable beef. Most all the items, eggs, milk, butter, bread, deli meat, and cheese have all increased in prices. Fees have increased as well. There seems to be no relief in sight. We're seeing increases in prices across the United States as well as other countries, for sure. Mini Homestead Cooking says, I was in the largest Amish area in Wisconsin yesterday. They said no one can get eggs, which we all kind of know that. We have tons of large chicken barns here, but no eggs. They said after visiting people in the other parts of the U.S., the English farmers told them, if there's a risk of bird flu, we are told to destroy all the birds, even if none test positive. Why do we need to hear from the Amish? Why can't we hear it from, like, the government, and we have to wait until the Amish figure out what's going on to tell us the truth about what's going on, huh? We've been told that if they get some positive tests, then they have to cull all the birds, but that's not what we're being told by the Amish now, who are telling us that they're being told by the English farmers, which is just the non-Amish, right, that farmers are being told to cull their flocks even without a positive test. Of course, in order to get the money, they have to shut their mouths. They have to sign their NDA, the non-disclosure agreement, which is why we never seem to get a straight answer on any of this stuff. Because if you want the lots of money, you have to sign the non-disclosure agreement. Not to mention these farmers and these corporations that are getting these bailouts don't want to admit that they just made a whole lot of money. Indie Girl says, I knew a woman whose ex-hubby is the owner of an insurance company. Her father was an ex-preacher and teacher, and he asked this insurance man why he didn't go to church. And he said, because he only sold insurance. Well, not a bad person, right? The insurance man said, if you knew the lies I have to tell, the games I have to play, you would then know why I can't go to church. This insurance man had his own personal plane to go from one place to another and was worth millions. Amy says, Southern Illinois, went to the ER with the type A flu. Had to wait 2 hours just to get a bed. Found out I was severely dehydrated. If you're sick, friends, drink the water. Drink the Gatorade. You really should have electrolytes stockpiled at your home. If you're stockpiling food, make sure you're stockpiling electrolytes too. Gatorade or something along those lines. Because when it comes to medical stuff, like that's one of the most basic things you need to do is treat dehydration. Anyway, so dehydrated. But when they started an IV, there were no pumps available and the IV would not flow. After 15 minutes, they discontinued it and told me to follow up with my doctor. So showed up, told dehydrated, tried to do an IV, that didn't work, and they just sent them home. Also found out that they are no longer a provider with my insurance, TRICARE. They used to be the only hospital in the area that was. Took 3 weeks to get an appointment with my doctor. That's not how long it should take to get stuff for your flu, right? Who put in an order at the infusion center for a series of fluid infusions. Insurance will not cover the infusions. So my only other option is to return to the hospital who is not in my insurance network. This has got to change. Indeed, friends, it's just getting crazy out there. Ali Bali says, from the 1st of April, we're going over to not New England, but real England. From April 1st to April, no, this is not an April Fool's joke, by the way. We'll do that in a little bit, okay? New sentencing guidelines for the judges in England and Wales will come into force. Gee, what are these new sentencing guidelines? A person's ethnic, cultural, and minority faith will be considered. Not your regular faith, but your minority faith. Gee, I wonder who we're talking about here. Will be considered in sentencing. According to the Shadow Justice Secretary, Robert Jenrick, the new guidelines will make a custodial sentence less likely for those who are an ethnic minority, a cultural minority, and or a faith minority community. Also, a new bill, so basically what we're talking about here is reduced sentencing if you happen to be part of a certain community, like say Muslim community, or you happen to have a skin color that is an appropriate color to get less sentencing. So if you commit a horrific crime, you get less years in jail if you're a minority, or if it's your cultural preference to commit those atrocities. Also, a new bill was introduced in the UK Parliament which will allow the police to search homes without a warrant if they suspect a stolen electronic item is there. Who knows what qualifies as reasonable suspicion? But hey, you don't have rights in England anyway. You just have things that the government lets you do. The police will also be able to seize anything from a person's home regardless of what it is. That's fun. If you're thinking about going to the UK to go visit, you might want to rethink that. Christina says, meperidine shortage. This is a medication for pediatric dentists that they use on children who have anxiety. It's a step up from the nitrous oxide, which is laughing gas, and a step below the general anesthesia. Per our supplier, we are looking at it being in stock back in stock at the end of July, but not until then. We use different medications on children. This one has low side effects and has a half-life that is perfect for the hour-long visits. Everyone is looking now for a second best option. JB says, if you're having problems with your insurance denying and filling medications and ordered services, especially if they aren't giving a reason, contact your state's insurance board. So that's something you can do, or their agency. They may be able to help you with complaints against your insurance company. So check into that if you're having troubles. Daedalus Creation says a massive trucker strike started in China on March 1st. Timed to happen during the 2 sessions to embarrass China, dissent is in the ranks as well as populace is definitely a big deal over there. Oracle's signs such as red skies and multiple suns appearing over in China are also having people seeing it as a sign of the downfall of the dynasty there. We talked about that a little bit already here. China is starting to get a little wobbly. Also, they have a problem with AI. DeepSeek AI is putting people out of work. Also, it's smashing the civil service sector while improving efficiency, which is spiking the unemployment over there. Plus, flu is wiping out 30 and 40-year-olds to 40-year-olds so fast the funerals and cremations are nonstop. We need to keep our eye on what's going on in China. Destabilization there is going to affect the entire world for sure. Old as Dirt says, Eastern Central Illinois. Rural King stores are telling people that they cannot get ducklings, so they are not offering them. And no chickens. The chicks and ducks have been arriving dead, and so they will not be offering many of them, if at all, for at least a month. They did have at least 10 pipers, which are turkeys, right? Baby turkeys. But not sure if they will have any of those even coming in the future. Montana Mama says, Montana here, went to Walmart yesterday to stock up on things before the tariffs start. Started looking at where my food is coming from. I was shocked. Tuna from Thailand, Brazil, and Canada. Prices are already going up. Also, no eggs. We're seeing that in a lot of places, though, right? It has been low, but this is the first time that there have been no eggs. My advice, if you have any money, get things now. And Michael at Tractor Supply is all out of chicks, turkeys, as well as ducks or chickens in central Alabama. Sign said minimum 4, but they don't have any. Baby turkeys, straight run, selling for $17.99 a chick. Ducks were selling at $8.99, and chickens were selling for $6.99. Straight run chicks per chick, or $15.99 for pullets. And so many people came in and asked about the chicks, and all the chick bins were empty. All right, friends, thanks so much for your reports coming in. Keep us updated on what's going on out there. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold about what you can do with your retirement account, there's a link right there on the screen. Just tap it and fill out your information. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.